Hello, welcome to Your Bias and You Don't Know It. Now, game one, how would you group these items? So I'm going to invite you to take a moment to pause this, put a timer on for 2 minutes or 5 minutes. Take a close look at this picture and think about how you would want to group this. All right, so please pause. I hope you took a chance to pause this and not just move ahead. So I'm pretty sure some of you grouped it as things to play with, food to eat, stickers maybe, or items I don't use, or something I like, something I don't like. But the overall purpose of this game one is that all these items can be grouped under items or just things. But what this brings up is that we unknowingly, well, subconsciously think about things through experience and we think about our students a certain way, as in, oh, higher level, lower level, or, student who might give us more problems, or student who's very smart. But all our students are individuals and they have different skills that we're able to access and support them in their learning. And it's important for us to start every day as a new day, but with these subconscious thinkings, it's not a bad thing to have because we use it to protect ourselves and be aware. But it's important to be more mindful as we work with students, and we don't want to subconsciously label them. And I'll get into that more later on. So implicit bias is defined as thoughts that are rooted in your living experience that shape how we act or react to others subconsciously, which may reinforce stereotypes unintentionally. So it's important for us to be mindful, but not change who we are as we work with students. Now, the second game that I'm going to play with you is I want you to think about who are the top two people who affects that means the students' learning capabilities. Now, I'm going to have to escape this to be able to give you this, but I'm going to give you some time to take a look and think about it. I invite you again to pause and think about that. Now, after 2 minutes, I'm hoping. Number two, I'm gonna move over right now, and that's their teachers. That's us. And we do play a role in students' behaviors because we spend a good portion of the day with them, and we're able to be their role models to support them in their learning. And, there's nothing wrong with the parents and how they think, but there's certain things that we have to teach students to be more confident and break out of stereotypes, even stereotypes their family might give them. And it takes a lot of strength for us to be that for ourselves and to teach our students that. Now, the number one person who affects students are themselves. So it is important for us as teachers to teach them how it is important, as we are 30% of how we shape and support them in their subconscious behaviors. And the factors that contributes to students' ability is their own confidence and what they think of themselves. Now, the principal, their peers, the school environment at home are all 5% of what they believe in themselves. But, as teachers, we teach them not only academics, but we also support them in their own self-confidence and capabilities. And we have to push that strength instead of pushing their weaknesses, which we unintentionally do if they repeat certain behaviors, but believing in them, being able to push them and observe how they learn and what they like, what they want to be in the future can also influence how they think of themselves and how we can put that into lessons for them to learn. Now, some standards for implicit bias for low achievers is their race. We know mostly Hispanic and African American students achieve the lowest because of social economic reasons. Family have a big influence and friends. Others, they could be bullied or other people might say something to them that triggers something. And that goes into self-fulfilling prophecy, which I was trying to mention before, how we shape how they think of themselves. Now, if we look at the self-fulfilling prophecy, it's a cycle, it's a circle. So it can start anywhere, but mostly it's the student's own belief of themselves. So they'll act a certain way because that's what they think of themselves. Some students who are low achievers, I've been taught which is easier to look stupid or to look bad. And most students will choose to look bad instead of looking stupid in front of their peers. So whatever their belief of themselves is, they will act out on it. And that's their action in their school and in life in general. So then the outcome can either be positive or negative. But as a teacher, we have that power to change that belief. But first, a lot of teachers first have to change that belief within themselves. And that is through their actions and what they do for those students to help them achieve their full potential. Now, the step to change is the teacher forms an expectation of a student. And it could be an implicit bias, but we have to be mindful of it to be able to change that. And whatever expectation we have of the student, having high expectation of the student and believing in them and letting them know that you believe they can do certain things, even if they don't, really start to change the behavior of the students. Because when we change our behaviors, and how we feel about them and we push them with positive motivation and positive reinforcement, the student changes their behavior because they start responding to the teacher's positive reinforcement, motivation, and taking interest in them and knowing that they're able to do certain things, and it strengthens their belief in themselves. So now I'm going to invite you guys to play a game of archery. So I'm going to escape this again. You have the slides in the Google Classroom to be able to review and to be able to click the link. Now, I have the archery already set up here. So you're going to press play and then you're going to do your best to aim at the target, right? The target is usually the middle. You see how I'm hitting everywhere? It's in the blue, but I'm going to invite you guys to pause again and take a moment and play this game. Try to play it maybe 3 times, maybe 5 times. So please pause and take a moment and play this game. And there's a point to it, I promise. Now, playing this game, I have a reason for playing this game. It's not just so we can take a break and play a game. But if you look at the archery circle, I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called, the target, right? The white, let's say the white is the highest achievers. That's right in the middle, right? Because when we teach our lessons, we do want everyone to learn the lessons, but we know the higher achievers are definitely going to hit that mark and understand what's going on. The yellow might be the higher average achievers, the red, the average achievers, the blue, the low achievers, and the black are the students that are considered at risk. So we want to hit the target, but when we set up the lesson, we have the standards and expectations, the Common Core standards that we know that we're touching upon, but the breakdown is the center of the target is we know we'll understand the lesson, but then as it spreads out, we're not sure if it's going to hit everybody. So I don't agree with these terms, but these are based on assessment and how we view students, which is still part of those implicit biases. But the goal is to create a target that will hit all the students in the target mark, not just the ones in the middle that we know will get the lessons. So that's the first part that we have to change is be mindful of our implicit bias, be mindful of all our students and how they learn. So we want to, what we're aiming for as a whole is student confidence. So even if we don't know if the student will get the standard, the grade level standard, what we do know we can target is being able to maybe use certain problems that we know that the students will be able to do, or change some wording so the students mostly at risk will be able to access the curriculum, which we'll go into more. So using implicit bias to shape your classroom, target those students that are affected by bias now that you're aware of your own, and changing your own perspective to be able to make small changes into your lesson to support those students who mostly are considered the at risk. So tools that you can use are multiple modalities, differentiation, cooperative learning, and student-centered lessons, which is all part of the universal design theory of learning, and using project-based learning and inquisitive critical thinking problems to be able to support their learning and in discussions to make those connections through even foundational knowledge. Here's my reference, and thank you very much.